Hi, Julia. I leave the floor to you to start and kick off the session.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Deploying Google SecOps, your path to a secure cloud. I'm so glad you could join us today for this session to discover how to fortify your business against evolving threats. My name is Julien Delosière, and I'm Google Security Sales Lead at Devoteam. And before we get started, I would like to thank each of you. You're taking the time to be here today and for your interest in this topic. During this session, as you can see, we'll cover the following: how Devoteam SOC, powered by Google Cloud, can proactively monitor, detect, and respond to threats, allowing to focus to your core business. The second point is how to detect and prevent security breaches in your Google Cloud environment. The third is best practices for safeguarding your most critical data. And the last one is an overview of Google Cloud security solution, including Google Threat Intel, Security Command Center Enterprise, and Google SecOps, of course. To help me deliver this webinar today, I'm joined by Juan Antonio Munez Rizueno, Chief Security Operation Officer at Servinform. Thank you, Juan. Jonathan Ageorge, Partner Security Engineer at Google Cloud for South EMEA region. Thank you, Jonathan. And my colleague Mauricio Arachia-Onate, Google Cloud Security Tech Lead at Devoteam. The webinar will last approximately 1 hour. Feel free to submit your question directly via the chat throughout the presentation. We will be happy to answer them at the end of the session. Now, let's start with Jonathan Ageorge from Google Cloud Security about the Google vision on security solution in the cloud.
Thank you, Julien. So hi everyone. So just before starting to talk about the product and the solution we are providing at Google Cloud Security, I would like to highlight that Google is known for many things, including search, YouTube, Gmail, and Google Cloud. But people don't always think of Google as a security company, but we actually keep more people safe online than anyone else in the world. If you take, for example, Gmail, the services, we are protecting user against phishing attacks because it's one of the most heavily used tactic by threat actors. So we are blocking more than 100 million attempts a day through our Gmail services. You may also are using Chrome web browser, and inside this Chrome web browser you will have a solution which is called Google Safe Browsing, and inside this solution we will analyze malware, we will analyze risky site and malicious activities. And if you try, maybe it happened to you, if you go to a specific website or if you try to download a specific file, we will inside the Chrome web browser notify you that you should not go on this specific URL or to download this specific file. And we are doing it at scale because Chrome is heavily used around the world, and we protect about 5 billion devices every day. But Google also wants to protect all the workloads which are running on GCP, on Google Cloud Platform. That's why we are providing some security solution around like Cloud Armor or protect you around DDoS attacks. And if you want to know more about that, we published on our Google Cloud blog an article last year. It was in October 2023. An attack we had where we had peak above 398 requests per second for this DDoS attack, and we managed to mitigate it for our end customer. So it's really important to know that by the scale of Google, we keep more people safe online than anyone else in the world. And we will benefit from it, and we will give access to how we manage security at Google to our end customer. Over the last few years, we are been working really hard to provide the magic of Google to security operation in the SIEM, SOAR, and CTI landscape. And it's really important to understand that we are not often the first. Google wasn't the first search engine. Gmail was not the first online email services, and Google Maps wasn't the first map services. But what we have always doing in this approach at Google is that we are facing the challenge with another way of thinking, scale, and usability and innovation. And what we are aiming and what we are doing will be the same for Google security operation, but we will discuss furthermore during this presentation. So at Google, we have been doing cybersecurity for a long time. You may already know or may have seen that it was 14 years ago, we have been breached. There is a lot of articles on the internet with explaining what happened. It was during the Aurora operation. And if you want to know more about it, there is a mini series, a mini show on YouTube, which explains how we handle this breach and how we mitigate it. But learning from the past, we have created our cybersecurity approach around three main pillars. The first one is trust nothing. What we want is to be able to know who is accessing the IT system, and we want, when there is a breach, to be sure that it doesn't spread in another layer. You may have already learned about the trust nothing approach of Google if you are a GCP customer, because we explain the security by layer, and we want each layer to be autonomous. So if there is a breach inside a layer, it won't spread around over layers. So that's one of the pillars we are using since this breach. It's a trust nothing approach. The other pillar we will talk more today about it is to detect everything. So if you want to be sure to understand what is happening outside your IT system, you need to be able to collect a lot of data at scale and to be able to leverage it. You don't want to detect everything and to have a lot of false positives, so it comes with this challenge, and we will explain how we manage it. But it's really important to collect a lot of information to be sure to understand and to have a full visibility of what is happening. And the last pillars, it's know what Google knows, is to understand cyber threat actors deeply and to have all the knowledge Google had and to share it and to give it to end customers so they can use the same threat intel information we have inside to adopt and to improve a better security posture. Just for the CTI part, just to understand the scale of the knowledge of Google, you may know that Various Total is a Google company, and so we know a lot about this observatory of malware. We have a lot of information. We also acquired 2 years ago Mandiant. We come with a lot of threat intel information, and we also had legacy threat intel team at Google who learned a lot from safe browsing, from Gmail services, so we know a lot. And what we want to do is to give to the end user and company the same cybersecurity approach we are using and relying at Google. So what we learned when we went to the SecOps market, we take an overview, and we find out that it's really difficult for most organizations to deploy, to maintain, and to manage a security operation platform. And it's really hard to get the full benefit and the full value of all the security telemetry and all the detection we had, and to be sure that analysts have got the right information at the right time to perform the investigation and know if it's a cyber threat or not. So we have seen that a lot of solutions don't have enough data and context. So sometimes you don't want to onboard all the security telemetry because the platform won't scale and won't be able to manage such telemetry. And when you onboard this kind of telemetry, sometimes you don't have the context next to it. So maybe when you have an event which is linked to an endpoint or a user, you don't know if the user has a permission to do it, what is the identity of the user, which is his role in the company, and it takes time for the analyst to collect this information in order to conduct this investigation. So it's really important to have the most context around an asset or anything that's coming into the security event, which is relevant for the analyst to conduct his investigation. We also found out that you have a limited attacker insight. So maybe you will use CTI in order to enrich a specific IP domain or hash, but you don't know. You will see if it's malicious or not, but you don't know if it's linked to a specific threat actor, if it's linked to a specific campaign, or if it's linked to a specific malware. So you have a limited visibility, meaning that you need to conduct your own investigation, which can be done, which can be time consuming, and you don't find sometimes a way of improving your security posture based on this threat intel information. And we will talk a little bit further later about this topic. What we also want you to be able to do is to be able to have a manual and complex, we will see manual and complex process inside such tools. So we want to ease the cybersecurity management of this tool from the learning for your SOC analyst and through the remediation. So we will have a lot of feature inside the platform to help you leverage all the value of it. And as a statement of this challenge, in Entrance, a report management shared every year, 56% of incidents which happen, organizations were notified of the breach by external entities. So they were not aware they had been breached. So to address this challenging, we launched a new platform. It was launched, I think, September of last year, which is a Google Cloud Security Operation Platform, which is a solution which includes the feature of a CM, a SOAR, and a threat intel and more. And you will be able, inside this unified platform, to conduct the detection, investigation, and response operation of your SOC. And it's really important that this unified platform will benefit from 3 pillars from the Google infrastructure, apply threat intel, and AI inside Gemini. So if we look at the benefits of using the hyperscale cloud infrastructure, we will be able to collect a lot of security telemetry, and we will be able to perform a lot of computation around it. Meaning that what we will do is we'll onboard all your security telemetry, and we will also collect your CMDB information. We will also collect identity information, and each event which is coming into the platform, we will add to the event the context. So you will have the context, the full context of the event at the time the event happened. So it's really important, because if an alert is triggered afterwards, what we will give to the analyst is all this information. So that's one of the major benefits of using hyperscale cloud infrastructure of Google Cloud. And this hyperscale cloud infrastructure is the same that is powering Google Search, YouTube, or Maps. So we have a lot of resources, so we don't have an issue to scale. And as we don't have an issue to scale, we are also able to provide to our end customer a 12-month data retention, and to be able to conduct a search or an investigation at speed on this 12 months of data. There is no concept of hot or cold storage on Google Security Operation. All data which is onboarded is able to be searched, and you can perform detection on it. So that's one of the first pillars. The second pillar we are using inside Google Security Operation is apply threat intel. As you know, and as we previously discussed, Google knows a lot about cybersecurity threat intelligence, and we want you to be able to leverage it easily into the platform. So a lot of time when you have a hash, an IP, or a malicious artifact, a potentially malicious artifact, you will ask your cybersecurity provider, feed intel, to understand if it's malicious or not. And you will then conduct further investigation, look at the association, the campaign, the threat actor, the malware used for this specific IOC. But you will do it reactively. You won't do it proactively. What we want to do is to be able to leverage the Google Threat Intel inside each event which are coming into the platform. Meaning that if you have EDR logs, if you have another network firewall logs, or other type of log, DNS logs, what we will do is that we will extract IP, domain name, file hash, and we will compare it continuously to the knowledge of malicious activities provided by Google Threat Intel platform. Meaning that even without creating a detection, we will compare all your security telemetry with the knowledge of Google on specific artifact. And it will give you a full visibility if something is happening. And one thing which is really important as well is that Google security team is performing more than 1,000 incident response per year. And what we are achieving is that we are collecting new artifacts, new IOCs of attack path used by new threat actors or legacy threat actor. And what we will do is that we will provide this private IOC into the Google SecOps operation for customer, so they can be notified if a breach is ongoing into their SecOps platform. So it's pretty powerful. And when we are doing it, what we aim for is to have at the less patient one, because we know we have patient 0, which has been breached, and we are doing an incident response, but we want to avoid this kind of TTP to be used and spread. That's why we want to publish as soon as possible for our Google Security Operation customer this kind of information. So that's what we call Applied Threat Intel, the capability to use the threat intel inside the platform. But as you may know, Google is working a lot on AI, so you may have already heard about Gemini, and we will have a specific focus during this presentation around Gemini. But what we are doing is that we are leveraging AI on some specific action and tasks in order to help you to conduct your investigation, your threat hunting, your case management summary, your threat intel report, and to help you also improve your security posture. And we will see how it is done into the platform. So with the Google Security Operation Platform, you will have a unified solution in order to conduct detection, investigation, and response. And it's really important to understand that we are able to collect any data, which may come from GCP, but may also come from on-premises or SaaS solution. And we will be able also to have some remediation, automated workflow, leveraging third-party product you may have inside your IT system, like an EDR, a firewall, an ITSM solution, or a SaaS product. So all of this action can be performed automatically inside the Google Security Platform. But what we also have noticed is that when you have a multi-cloud approach and you are using also on premises, it's really hard to breach, to have a unified team which will operate the cloud security part and the security operation part. Sometimes there is 2 different teams which are working not so closely together, and we want to bridge a gap between these 2 teams and these 2 silos. So we want to bring cloud security, which include posture management, compliance monitoring and threat detection, with enterprise security operation, which are doing activities such as threat investigation and response. So the SOC team. So in order to do that, we need to provide CNAP functionality for the cloud and to have a link, a strong link with the security and response team in order to unify the workflow. So if you find a threat or if you find a vulnerability, for example, you will have to monitor the remediation of the threat, and sometimes and oftentimes it should be sent to another team, to the operation team, in order to apply specific patching of remediation task. And you need to track if everything has been done correctly in order to close the security incident. And we want to ease the communication between each step and to follow the remediation process and to track it from the detection to the remediation. So in order to do that, you may also heard that we have improved our CSPM CWPP platform, which was known as Security Command Center. So we introduce SCC Enterprise, which helps you to bridge the gap between the team and help you also to improve your security posture regarding all cloud workload. So SCC legacy SCC was only monitoring GCP workload and doing some proactive and reactive detection. But now we are expanding the capability of SCC to a multi-cloud system. So the first goal of SCC is to provide posture management on all cloud providers and to look at some configuration, organization policy, and to track if there is no drift from this posture. And we want to also be able to perform threat detection on all the cloud workload in order to track malicious activity and to send it to the Google Security Fabric. And the Google Security Fabric is using the same backend as the security operation platform, meaning that we will leverage all the features we previously discussed inside SCC Enterprise. But we will add specific features which are related to cloud security. For example, we will be able to create an attack path by learning all the asset, all the security configuration, all the vulnerability which has been detected inside your cloud environment, and we will add Gemini on top of it, and we will build a digital twin model of your IT cloud system to find which attack path a malicious actor could use, and we will attach to this attack path a risk score, so you can start to work on threats that matter the most, and it won't be just looking at specific finding like a poster drift or maybe someone who has too much access to a specific cloud resources. We will map all the finding to a possible attack path of a malicious actor, and we will advise you to fix it. And most important, when we create a case in order to fix this issue, we will also provide some guidance on how to remediate it and how the analyst should conduct his investigation. And as we are leveraging the Google Security Fabric, which is kind of the same backend of the Google SecOps platform, we will also have access to Mandiant Threat Intel, meaning that if you have an asset which is trying to connect to a command and control domain or to a malicious IP from your IT system, your cloud IT system, it will trigger detection and finding. So everything will be unified inside one platform, so you have a full visibility of your cloud risk. So now if we discuss a little bit more about Gemini inside the security operation platform. So it's really important to note that when you are Gemini is the name of AI solution at Google. When you are using Gemini in security operation, in security command center enterprise, or in Gemini threat intelligence, in GTI, Google Threat Intelligence, you will use a large language model which is named SecLM, which is a specific large language model which has been trained on cybersecurity data. So we know a lot about malicious activity at Google through the Google Threat Intel platform, which embeds VirusTotal, Mandiant, or the legacy Google knowledge around cybersecurity. And we use this trained model, which is called SecLM, inside our product. So we are doing API call on SecLM, and we will get inside the product an access to Gemini linked to cybersecurity knowledge. So it's really important to understand that it's a specific model that has been trained and grounded on cybersecurity data. So how will it help you to achieve your security operation? So for example, during the investigation, when you use the Google Security Platform, it will give you a case summary. It will help you to conduct structured search. So if you want to find some failed authentication during the last 3 days for a specific user, it will create the query for you. It will also be able to conduct malware analysis, so you can send the file to GTI and it will look at if it's malicious or not, if it's a Python script, for example. We can also use Gemini in order to give you a visibility of the risk score of a specific event and the case. And if you find a malicious behavior and you want to refine your security posture, you can also create a rule from natural language, because each time you have a new security operation tool, you need to learn a new language. We are using UDM, Unified Data Model, with a specific search. So you can learn it by using Gemini, and it will help you to create the query for you. For the response part, what we can do is you can create a playbook, a workflow for remediation using natural language. So you can look for specific alerts and say that you want to then perform enrichment. And if something malicious is found inside the alert, you want to be able to maybe contain the endpoint to perform such action. So you can start from the natural language query, and it will create the workflow and the playbook for you, and you can then add some specific action on top of the one that Gemini built for you. And one but not least, one feature which is really great is that you can ask Gemini about threat actor, you can ask Gemini about IOC, about TTPs, about cybersecurity knowledge, and it will give you an answer. And after this answer, it will also give you access to specific action you want to perform on your security operation platform. So maybe you want to conduct a search, maybe you want to know if you have a created detection available for this TTP. So created detection is Google rule detection provided by Google Threat Intel team. So every ask you can do in Gemini is then followed by some next action you can ask and you can have in order to help SOC analysts to perform the investigation. So that's all for me, and I will now let Mauricio talk about how you need have a managed security service on top of the tooling.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm Mauricio Rechea. Okay, I'm the Google Cloud Security Tech Lead here at Devoteam. And as Jonathan said, I'm going to take over with how we build our services on top of what Jonathan has just explained. So first of all, I'd like to kick things off just with basically telling you guys that we're official Google SecOps MSSPs. Why did I want to include this? Is essentially because by being official Google security MSSPs, we have a bit more, well, I guess, privilege with Google. We have a direct line of communication with them. We were actually handpicked to join this program, so there's not a lot out there. And this is also a testimony to why we were chosen, and it's essentially because of our expertise with Google technology, and in this case, more specifically, our expertise in Google SecOps. There's not a lot of partners out there that have expertise, so that's why if you're going for this technology, for Google technology, it's good that you reach us, essentially. So having said this, I'll now go over our SOC, so our Security Operations Center. As you all know, or you should know, cybersecurity is a growing concern. It's been a concern for some time, and it's always going to be a concern, essentially. Attackers are becoming more and more sophisticated, and unfortunately for us, for our companies, we normally don't have the resources to detect or to respond, which is even harder. So for that reason, it's crucial to both leverage technology as well as people, as well as partners, to help you in that journey to becoming more secure, to having a more resilient environment. So what we, as I just mentioned, what we leverage is the technology, which we base ourselves on the Google SecOps stack. So SIEM, SOAR, automation, AI as well as human talent, because unfortunately, as of today, AI is not as advanced as it will be in the future, and we still need that human talent. We still need a team of experienced analysts, engineers that can help us in proactively defending our environment. We need people to be there, unfortunately. So that's why we still need these types of services for our company. So if we go a bit deeper into how our SOC service works, we're talking about 4 pillars here. As you can see in the slide, we have our monitoring pillar, which I'll explain in a bit more detail now. We have the incident response and forensic analysis pillar. We have the threat intel pillar, and we have the vulnerability management pillar. So these are all different types of services that can be built on top of one another. So it's essentially a layered architecture where you can pick and choose the services that cater most to your needs. So you can either go for only one, you can go for all of them, or a combination of them. It doesn't really matter. In the end, obviously, if you get the whole package, you'll have the best service, but you'll still have an improved security posture if you choose any one of these 4. So if I go a bit deeper into each one of these, if we start with the monitoring pillar, this is essentially your level 1 24/7 monitoring service. So this is based on our level 1s, which are analysts that are essentially monitoring your infrastructure. In our case, they're monitoring Google SecOps, which we would have already onboarded all your sources. We would already have detection logic. We would already have some playbooks running. And these guys are in charge of, escalating incidents, triaging, discarding false positives, general monitoring, creating dashboards, so that you, the customer, can, go into the platform and see what's happening. So this is essentially your 24/7 monitoring service, which will cover, your basic needs. If we talk about a more dedicated approach, we'll have to talk about the second pillar, which is the incident response and forensic analysis. So here we have the level 2s and essentially a level 3. So what do I mean with level 2s and level 3s? So level 2s are engineers, specialized engineers that carry out deep investigations of potential compromises. So essentially, when a level 1 analyst has, detected a potential compromise, it will be escalated to one of our more specialized level 2 engineers, which will go deeper into the investigation. They'll carry out, they'll use different tools that we have to, investigate the IOCs, to see if this is a real incident and it needs to be even looked a bit deeper. And they're the ones that actually create the detection rules, that create the playbooks to go with the detection rules, because this is an important part of our service. So as time goes on, and we've already, worked with you for some time, we'll start developing, more accurate playbooks, more automated remediation, and as the years goes on, hopefully this remediation will be automatic. But we still need those engineers to actually, investigate the threats, to create these playbooks, and to create the detection that will trigger these playbooks. So once our level 2s are essentially done with the incident, if they detect that it's a real true positive and it's a real attack, so you're actually suffering an attack, that's when we have to go for the level 3s. So level 3s are specialized incident response experts. These are the people that go into the environment and actually remediate the threat if it's something that has expanded, or if it's something that can be, that's essentially blocking your business operations, and if it's really affected your business. These are the ones that also build those incident response plans. So in the case that you do suffer an incident, there's already a plan in place. There's backups in place, there's procedures in place, and you can seamlessly go back to business. And this part, the L3s, are also the ones that conduct the forensic analysis. So once the attack has been remediated and everything is back to normal, they're the ones that are actually gonna, investigate why the breach happened, how we can actually prevent this type of breach from happening again, so that continuous improvement of, suffering an incident, or hopefully not suffering an incident, but if in the case you suffer an incident, then you put the controls in place to not suffer that type of incident again. In this sense, the incident response services are also carried out with an hour retainer. So essentially, these are hours that you will essentially buy from us, from our level 3s. And in that sense, if you don't suffer an incident, which is obviously the preferred outcome, you can also use those hours in other services, in other security services. So pen tests, I'll explain now in the next pillars, but essentially those hours will not go to waste, and you can use those to improve your security in other ways. So one important aspect of security, which Jonathan explained, is the threat intel aspect. So as Jonathan explained, there's already applied threat intel in the SecOps platform. So this is something that we use to deliver, better services around our SOC, so better detection, better response. But there's also an aspect which is not covered with the SecOps platform directly, which is essentially something that you have to use another type of platform, which is, the brand misuse, the digital threat monitoring, the attack surface management. So all these types of services we cover with our threat intel pillar. So for instance, digital threat monitoring services are used to scour the deep web for potential brand misuses, for compromised credentials from our company, for data leaks. We also, for this type of service, we also leverage Google technologies. So Jonathan mentioned Google Threat Intel. That's essentially the platform that we use. And we use it in conjunction with Google SecOps to deliver a more complete picture. So we also offer this threat intel pillar in 24/7 mode. So if we detect some sort of brand misuse at 3 a.m. in the morning, you'll still get that notification, and we'll still try to take down that site potentially. So this is an ongoing service that is basically one step ahead of is being one step ahead of potential threats. Our fourth and final pillar is based on vulnerability management. So here we have pen testing services, simulation of attacks, audits, vulnerability management, so knowing where our vulnerabilities lie, prioritization of different patches, what we should do essentially to have a more robust starting position, and essentially is to discover what vulnerabilities you might have in your infrastructure. So having said this, these four pillars, if we talk about the structure of the team, I mentioned it roughly in a few areas, but essentially it's the team of level ones. So these are the people responsible for triaging fake positives, for monitoring 24/7, so being the first responders essentially. Then we go to the level twos, which are more specialized. They're engineers. They're the ones that actually create the rules. They're the ones that create the playbooks. They're the ones that analyze IOCs, that do threat hunting as well in the platform. They're constantly, learning about different threats. So they're the ones in charge of the threat intel aspect as well. And then the level threes, we offer two different types of services. One is where we cover everything ourselves. So we cover the level threes, we're the responders. But then in a lot of cases, customers want to be the L3s at the beginning. Maybe, because of trust, essentially. At the beginning, you might not want us to be responding to threats actively by, containing endpoints, for instance. But as time goes on, you'll essentially we'll gain your trust. And in the end, what normally happens is you end up giving us the whole power to essentially, contain endpoints and do the actual remediation. So remediate first and ask later, essentially. So as I said before, we leverage Google technology. So that's something important to note, that we've leveraged Google technology since some years back. So as Jonathan said, the full platform, the SecOps platform, was released last year, but we already used the SIEM and SOAR separately for a couple of years back. So now that it's together, now it's a full platform. We're obviously happier. But yeah, we've used it for some time, and it's something that we're familiar with, we're comfortable with, and it's essentially a bet that we wanted to leverage to go for a Google technology. And yeah, essentially that's the tools we use. We use automation as much as we can in the platform. As I said before, fully automated is something that hopefully in a couple of years will be something that we can deliver for everyone. We have to be a bit careful with automation at the moment, but it's something that we do as well. And an important thing to note as well is because of our expertise, we already have plenty of use cases for lots of different industries, for lots of different types of attacks. We base all of our use cases on MITRE, so we have everything mapped out to MITRE techniques and tactics. So that way, it's easily mapped to know where your gaps are. So that's something as well to note, that we have a lot of use cases. We have different clients from different industries. For each industry, it's important to know that there are different types of attacks. There are different types of groups that might target you for different reasons as well. So that's what we try to do to cover, the whole MITRE framework, to be able to give you the best security that you can have. So just to, wrap a bit of things up of what the process is like, or the SOC process. So it's easily divided in these 6 steps, essentially. This is very common for, SIEM technologies, SOAR technologies. We start by aggregating the logs, so collecting them from the different sources. In Google SecOps, normalization is done by default. So this is managed by the technology itself. So the standardization part is done at the same time that we ingest logs. Then obviously we have that analysis phase where we build detection rules and we put them in place. Once the detection rules are ready and live, that's when we start, triaging false positives, fine-tuning the rules, prioritizing incidents, building playbooks around them. So that's when step 5 comes in as well, for the playbooks and the remediation. And then finally, once the whole process is done, that's when we start, improving on the whole structure. So the continuous improvement part is really important, because at the beginning, there's going to be moments where we're going to have to fine-tune rules to tailor it specifically to the industry, to the client, to the business needs. And that's something that needs to be done on a continuous basis. So as time goes on, the service becomes better and better. That's the whole point. And finally, why choose us? I'm just going to summarize it with 4 headlines. One is the modular service, so you can decide what to choose, what services you think are good for your company. The expertise that we bring, both in security as a whole, as well as Google SecOps. Okay, we've been working for a long time with Google SecOps. Our team is a pretty long-standing team of SOC experts, even if the SOC within Devoteam is quite new. These people are brought from other SOCs with long-standing track records. It's a 24/7 service, so that's always good when talking about security. You don't want to be waking up at 3 a.m. On a Saturday, so that's something that we also bring. And one important note that I want to leave you guys with is the fact that we have transparent operations. One important thing that has been that we do is, you guys are the owners of the technology, so you guys are the owners of Google SecOps, and we bring the service on top. Okay, we offer both flavors, so either we're the owners of Google SecOps and we bring the service as well, or the other way around. We prefer that second way, where you're the owners of the technology, mainly because if for some reason you're not happy with our service, you can take that technology, all the rules, playbooks, everything that we built on SecOps, and take it to another provider. Maybe it's not beneficial for us to explain it. I mean, to have it this way, but that's what we like to do, to for you guys to be the owners of the technology. And that's basically it. Now I'm gonna leave you with Juan Antonio Muñoz Risueño, who's the CSO of Servinform, and he'll explain a brief, summary of his experience, of Servinform's experience with the technology. And yeah, if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. And if you want to talk about more of our services or more of the technology, we're glad to write me an email, or we can set up a call.
Okay. Any questions for Mauricio? No one? Okay, let's start. First of all, as Mauricio has told, I'm Juan Antonio. I'm the CCOO at Servinform. I'm responsible of the operation at security area. So first of all, I'd like to thank Devoteam to allow me to participate in this webinar. So let's start with a brief talk. I'll try to be quite quick, so that we have no many time spent in this point. I think yes. To start with the presentation, I'd like to introduce what we do in Servinform. Servinform is a company that is built from many different companies. So we have a very different kind of technologies, and since a couple of years, we were very focused on being a consultant and processes company, and now we are trying to transform or revolution the company to be a fully digital services company, so that we can provide better services to our customers. But in fact, at this moment, a couple of years ago, the company was not an analog company. We also have a very new technologies among the company. We have automation with robots, RPA, also assist with artificial intelligence. We have chatbots and many other technologies. So that was a good point of start for our transformation. But this technology was not adopted fully or spread along the company. So what was the transformation we wanted to perform? As I told you, we wanted to become a full digital company, and for this transformation, we need this process was leading us to transform from on-premise infrastructures and services to the cloud. That was one of the pillars we are taking for our transformation. That's what we call the journey to cloud. We also have to change and improve our processes so that can adopt these new technologies and ways of work. And all of this is supported or has a very, very strong factor, that is the information security, because of the need for the transformation and new regulation, and also requirements for our clients. As I already said, InfoSec becomes in this scenario a critical factor at the process we are now involved in. And in this process, what are the main lines or challenges we have to afford? The first one, we have two main challenges: the vulnerability management process and the incident response for security events. Okay, this second one, that is the one we are talking about today, has two underliers. The monitoring services or processes that we are relying on the CM, and then the automation for the response with the help of or the introduction of using artificial intelligence. That one is another area we are using for the security incident response. So then we have to make some decisions and handle the expectations on what we are doing. Okay. So sorry. Oops, I missed this. Yeah, I didn't see the PPT. Sorry. This incident response. So as I already told, we have two things we want to target. We want to achieve. One was to be able to have a very good detection and easy to deploy or easy to maintain. Also that can handle many different sources of information, so that can get a very wide compatibility and sorry, and allows us to make some automation on the response on events detected on the platform. That all requirements lead us to Google SecOps. That was the solution that we decided that could be managed all the requirements we had. And with the Google SecOps, we also, that is not in the PPT, but I'd like to say we also search for a technology partner that allows us to make this travel or this journey easier, and that's why we contact Devoteam, and also we are working with them to make the deploy and initial configuration for all the configuration integrations and case of use for the CM. Why we do this, or I don't know how to say. What are the expectations? What the reason we try to make this improvement is to have a full integration with artificial intelligence that makes us save time and money. Also has an improvement in the correlation from different sources in our CM, and finally capabilities of full automation regarding the response on incident for the security in our information. And I think I've been quite quickly. I don't know if many of you or any of you have any doubt, but feel free to put it on the chat so that we fully to reply. Very quiet people here. They are not very noisy. Come on, anyone?
Who is the first one?
I mean, if you're shy and you want to ask us personally, you have our emails. You can send us an email, or we can schedule a call if that works better for you. But yeah, if there's no questions, I think we can end here. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone who spoke. So Julian, Jonathan, Juan Antonio. And yeah, we'll see each other in the next one, and hope you have a great day.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Bye.